Hi, thank you. My name is Krating. I'm a managing partner of Find TukTuks. It's the micro fund focusing on Thai startup and Southeast Asia startups. So I'm going to talk about the role of government and private initiative in transforming Thailand into a startup powerhouse. To be honest, we are not yet startup powerhouse yet, but we'll be soon. So basically, I'm also running a startup school called Disrupt University. So basically, we train innovators and corporate innovators, and we also creating the industry. So that's our vision. So you can see Thai startup ecosystem basically started in 2012. And can you believe a country that is the second largest economy in Southeast Asia, in 2012, they raised startup for the whole country raised only $2 million. Yes, you are not mistaken. In 2012, the whole country, 67 million people, second largest economy in Southeast Asia, raised a total of $2 million. Everything started in 2012. And 2012, nothing much exists. Okay, so in 2012, I need to give a credit to telco. AIS is one of the largest telco in Thailand, and they started the AIS, the startup program, in 2012. And we have a co-working space. Yes, we have two co-working spaces. That everything that exists in 2012 in Thailand, two co-working spaces and one telco-backed accelerator. Okay. And 2012 as well, I started, because there's not much entrepreneurs, so I started the school to teach startups. Basically, it's called Disrupt, and so far we are on batch 15. We graduate 1,300 startup founders. And this is what happened in 2012. You can see only 2 startups successfully raised of funding in 2012. And things continue to grow. So in Thai startup ecosystem, it's all it started by the private sectors, it started by telco, it started by co-working spaces, and also started by a startup school. Things continue to grow well, but still very small in 2013. And 2013, I started the incubator as well, as part of the telco called DTAC Accelerate. And so far they are on batch number 6 right now. So it has been going on since 2013. And we have another telco jumping in as well. So it's all started with the telco back accelerator. And 2013 is getting better, but still, the whole country raised $9.7 million. From $2 million to $9.7 million. You're not mistaken. It's not billion. It's not even 100 million. 9.7 million. So it's I run a school and then in my 2013 is my second year running startup school. I'm shall I give up? The whole country raised $9.7 million. I've been doing this for 8 batches. Teaching startup founder. I'm shall I give it up? But then things start to take off in 2014, especially when you are private sector and you want to kickstart the ecosystem. It takes a lot of time, It takes a lot of time to really drive the ecosystem, but things start to take off in 2014. We start to have and thank you ECHELON as well. We start to have the Thai startup, it's called Time Crew. The name is asking teacher, It became the 2014 most promising startup. And they wanted this ECHELON. And when you have you start to have a startup heroes, things start to take off. A talent start to see hey, this is probably gonna be real, probably I should join startup as well. And I think this is interesting as well. We get together a very small ecosystem. We form a Thai tech startup ecosystem, Thai tech startup association. And then when we use that association as part to talk to the government. And that's how in 2014 we have the Thai tech startup ecosystem association. We start to write the white paper, and we use that white paper to talk to the Thai government. This is the policy that you need to do in order to help support the startup ecosystem. And 2015 is the real takeoff for Thai startup ecosystem. This is the takeoff point, and then you can see, 2015 is where everything start to take off. And then in 2015, I launched a micro fund, the first early stage micro VC fund in Thailand. It's called TukTuks. And we raised 15.4 million US dollar. And so far we have invested in 50 startups. We are the definitely most active VC in Thailand, and we also invest in Southeast Asia. So things start to take off because okay, you start to have a community, you start to have enough founder, you start a collaboration with the government, and then you have a body that represents the startup ecosystem. So then what was lacking in 2015 is a fund. So we launched a fund. And so far we invest in company like Omise, ClaimD, that kind of thing. And then the government, they launched Thailand 4.0 policy in order to correspond to the industrial 4.0. And in Thailand 4.0 policy, the startup Thailand is becoming the top priority for the government. It's a new S-curve. So they want a double S-curve industry. So in 2015 onward, it's a close collaboration between three parties: startups, government, and corporate, to drive the startup ecosystem forward. And you can see in 2017, Thai startup ecosystem grew by 100 times. It's exploding. Starting in 2015, we start to have Startup Thailand, which is a platform by the government to support the Thai startup ecosystem. It's led by Ministry of Science and Technology, and it's so real that basically the minister and even the prime minister, they invited us small people from Thai startup ecosystem to come and talk to them and work hand in glove in order to drive the policy. But it's kind of surreal for me. You have a chance to talk with all these high level politicians in order to drive the ecosystem. But still there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of the limitation from the government side that you need to help them and understand a little bit that they are you have to be patient with them. And 2016 onward, we start to have Freshgate, Gestic. We start to have the startup that become successfully raised a lot of seed round and also Series A funding. And in 2017, a lot of CVC. I think Thailand is probably the country that has the most CVC in Southeast Asia. And in every single sector, because when you invest in seed stage, right? When you invest in seed stage startup, basically when they grow, what happened? You have a bottleneck at Series A, and that's how the corporate venture capital in Thailand play a big part. We have corporate venture capital in property industry, food and beverage industry, and definitely financial services. Every single bank in Thailand, you can say they have a CVC and also accelerator program. Not to mention telco. So every single company in Thailand, they basically they basically want to get involved in the startup ecosystem. Is kind of outsource R&D for them, and they tap into talent. And at the same time, the government, they have the so-called public and private partnership. So that is another platform to drive the close collaboration between startup, big corporate, and the government as well. So there are a lot of platforms that we work together to drive the ecosystem onward. And now you can see in 2017, the whole country, start from $2 million US dollar. It now more than 100 million US dollar. And the other part of the ecosystem start to come together, not only the startup, but also from 2012 to 2017, the amount of fund has increased by a lot. And we have government support program. The government start to have smart visa, and you live in Singapore, probably what is the when you raise a fund from the VC, what is the instrument that you use? Convertible note. It didn't exist in Thailand. Convertible note, ESOP, it didn't exist. And now we write in the white paper and then talk to government, this is what we need. Otherwise the Thai startup, we just come to Singapore, and now we have ESOP. We have something simple as convertible note, and now we start to have a smart visa. And government, they have SPA, and DIPA is the digital economy promotion agency. We start to have government support program, not only money, but also they start to modernize a field of regulation, because Thai regulation framework is kind of fall behind many countries. In Singapore, when I invest in one Singaporean startups, it take 1 day. We use standard document, because everything is just so standardized. But in Thailand, how long does it take to invest in one startup? A month. Yeah, a month. a month. And in Singapore, like it's so fast, like all the things that you take for like, for granted in Singapore, you have no idea that like we have to modernize every single like regulatory framework in Thailand, and we have to work closely with the government to drive that. But the good thing is that they are quite friendly and open. And so like the government launched the Spark Global Accelerator Program, and also DIPA, they have accelerator program as well. I think like similar to like if you think about Malaysia, they have Magic, right? In Thailand, you have DIPA accelerator program and Spark accelerator program. And smart visas for talent, investor, and also executive. And also they have the visa for startup as well. And they have like fintech sandbox, like for startup to test an idea. And we have like insurtech sandbox as well to just launch this year. It's still like it's not probably like there's a lot of stuff to do like fintech sandbox is probably not as advanced as like Singapore, but still it's a good beginning. We have like fintech sandbox, insurtech sandbox, so that like the insurtech startup can test an idea in Thailand as well. And they even have like the live platform for startup to facilitate access to funding. It's kind of like a cloud funding platform so that investor, like even a retail investor can invest in a startup as well. It's government initiative. So I'll say like Thai government and also the big corporate in Thailand, they did a lot to support the startup ecosystem. But still like in 2018, there's always more room to grow, Like you can see like every single startup ecosystem like that grows so fast. What happened? You lack funding, right? And then two, you lack talent. So in Thailand, we are at the point where we cannot create enough talent. We basically like don't have enough developers. We don't have enough like even like business people that want to join like startups. So in order to crack the talent code, like you have to solve the fundamental education system. So earlier this year, I launched the innovation to I launched the education conference and also hackathon to kickstart the education innovation ecosystem to drive the education in Thailand. So I see like the role of the public sector is that you have to be the leader of the ecosystem. You drive the initiative, and then like you have to involve the corporate and also the government as well. And I told you guys like in 2015, I launched Find the TukTuk One. We invest in 50 startups, and we just launched a few weeks ago Find the TukTuk 2. We want to invest in 150 more startups. So if you want to be part of that 150 startup, come talk to me after this, And we will invest in Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam. We co-invest with 500 Vietnam, and also we work closely with 500 Durian as well in order to invest for the startups. And like the other big part of the ecosystem is that like there's no way that you can drive the ecosystem forward in a long term, in a sustainable way, if you don't solve education. And like you live in Singapore, one of the best education system in the world, but like this is the current Thai education system. Basically 50% of Thai students, Thai kids, they cannot read. 50% of Thai kids cannot do like mathematics. 50% as well of Thai kids cannot do science. And then like how can you create like startup founder? How can you create like developers? How can you drive like the tech startup ecosystem forward when you lack a talent? That's what we need to solve, So like I said, like that's why like in order to drive the change, the step change in education, so we launched the education conference to it's like 1,700 people, and also like this is the picture of the conference. And again, like we bring like a big corporate, like and also the government sector to join forces. And now we form like what we call it. It's a public and private partnership as well. We call it Thailand Education Partnership. It's the alliances of 11 like leading organizations from public and private sector, including the Minister of Education, to drive in a holistic way the change in the education. We just got started for 2 months, but I think it's a good model, like it's a good platform so that like you can drive a change. At least probably you can reapply to your country as well. And this is like we have the first hackathon in Thailand. It's called like EdTech Disruption Hackathon. So like 119 startup apply. Like 119 startup is big. Like for one vertical, 500 people, and they compete for 2 days hackathon. And soon we will have like the EdTech Accelerator in Thailand as well, supported by big corporate and also the government, so that we can use an idea from the hackathon and then like accelerate them forward to drive a change in education. Again, but still, education is one thing. You have to be patient with education. You can have like some quick win, that kind of stuff, but you have to be patient with education. But if you don't solve that education, there's no way you can drive the ecosystem forward. It's all about talent. The second piece, even though we work closely with the government to modernize the regulation to support startup and also tech industry, but still, like taxi network, one answer on Uber legal status. This is what happened in Thailand still, Airbnb booking still legal, And also like, there's like a lot, there's like attacks, like on cryptocurrency and that kind of thing. There are a lot of like things for you to like to modernize and work closely with the government. And when you talk about like changing regulation, it's not easy, especially like imagine like the regulation system in Thailand is kind of like Frankenstein, like you borrow this, like this part from this part of this. It's very difficult to change. Like I was on the panel with one of the minister that is like trying to promote, like he call it regulatory guillotine. It's a guillotine that basically like can cut across all the department. Theoretically, he can do anything with that regulatory guillotine. It's like I said, wow, that's really awesome. And now we can see easily that the guillotine probably like it's already broken. Because he said like the first thing is that like not the guillotine itself, but there are like 200,000 regulation. You're like 200,000 regulation in Thailand that needs to be like consolidate and then like put together into a holistic way and then reduce it to 4,000. Like from 200,000 to 4,000, and that's a big task, and I don't know what that will happen, So we have a lot to do in terms of like regulation, but they are quite friendly with us startup people. Every time that we propose, they are ready to adapt and change in a reasonable way, I'll say. So what is next for Thailand? I think like you can see like we have done so much like in Thai startup ecosystem. We built from $2 million like for the whole country. It takes us 5 years to come this far. It's a startup ecosystem that is driven by, I'll say like it might be a cliche, but I really believe like it's a dream of many small people. Like you guys join startup ecosystem. You guys come here. You have a dream. You have a passion. You want to do something. For me, my startup is the Thai startup ecosystem. So for me, I drive the startup ecosystem, and then like what doesn't exist, like I try to build it or try to influence and make it happen. So that's like my startup, it's Thai startup ecosystem. It's an ecosystem based on dream, hope, and faith. You won't do a startup. You don't have a dream. You don't believe in something like so impossible. You don't believe in what the fuck dream. Like you are not doing startup because of that. So what is next for Thai startup ecosystem? We need a big exit, $100 million. We have some startup at that level already. But if you read the startup compass, like there's a research by the startup report. They said like the trigger point, the tipping point for any startup ecosystem is to have at least $100 million exit. And Thai startup ecosystem next step is to have at least $100 million exit, a centaur. We have a startup like that as well already, but then like we need an exit. And actually we are working closely with the government to create the liquidity and exit environment so that Thai startup at that level can exit as well. Like you can even like work with the government to create like an exit environment, but we'll see, and you can see like most of the Thai startup got started in 2015, and you need another 2 or 3 years for that like startup that are only 2 years old to reach $100 million, but then like I think I'm quite positive that will happen. So we need a big exit and that's what we are going to try to push, and then that will be the trigger point, and big corporate and also the government also play a key part as well, especially the CVC. They are helping to solve the Series A bottleneck, and many of them started to invest at Series B level as well. And second one, we need to continue to modernize Thai regulatory framework, and especially when the technological, when technology change so fast, it moves so fast. You have to help educate the government and work closely with them as well. I think it's it's not one thing, one shot. Even though you use regulatory guillotine to modernize and cut across and queue and reduce many unnecessary red tape and regulation. It's kind of continuous improvement. You have to continue to do it. You have to do it all the times. Even though you modernize it and then you finish it, then next year you have to do it again. It's kind of continuous effort. It's similar to startup. And then we need talent. In Thailand we need a lot of talent, and then we start to have smart visa, that kind of stuff, and they have the Thai government is planning to put in $600 million into Thai startup ecosystem. So you guys are talent, and somehow if you are board of Singapore, and then oh okay, a lot of startup, a lot of competition, doing a startup in Singapore, come to Thailand and come talk to me. I put the money in, I then invest, and then it's much less competitive and help us drive the startup ecosystem forward. And and again, we hope to welcome you in Thailand as well. 150 startup. Hope some of you will join us as well. Thank you.